Welcome back to the T Burrows YouTube channel. I'm T Burrows and this is our dealings in the transfer window. Now, as you can see, I've been busy. As I stated in the previous episode, I wanted to sell our best guy, Thiago, the only one I knew from the whole squad. Which I managed to do. We actually got money for him, so money in the bank plus fewer wages, and that's a win-win in my book. Also, we let go 2 of our youngsters. Apparently in the Danish lower divisions there are rules. You have to, well, of course there's rules, wouldn't there be, but regarding payments, you have to pay your youngsters. If you give them a young contract, you have to pay them. We can have a look at our team, see what they're forced to have. Alright, so £200 a month, not that much, but in our club situation it's quite a sum. So as you see, I chose to let go of 2 of them. I didn't actively try to sell anyone. They might turn out to have potential. So I thought, well, we have our money, we have our Thiago money, our exotic money. We don't need money for kids. That would be too inappropriate, even in this regime. So before selling Thiago, I guess we had well, what was it? Should we have a look at our finances, what everyone loves? Yeah, so I have to get used to the pound system. I've always used Danish kroner, but as you can see, we're within budget. Well, when I came to the club, we had 0 transfer budget, and of course we don't get that much human trafficking for £1,000. We could try, but I think it's not really worth the effort. I'd rather steal kids instead. So our wage budget is this, £8,000. We're spending 6, which is less than we spent when I got here. And as you can see in our transfer history, we've only done 3 transfers. And the loan moves we've done, they are also free players. Well, the clubs are paying them for their contracts, but we are getting them for free, which is lovely. Now I haven't loaned too many players, and perhaps we should take a look at them first. Well, I've actually only loaned fullbacks, and this guy is only 17-year-old, and he is already a beast in comparison to our other fullbacks. Or actually, I've just gotten in a quite right, left fullback. I'm actually crazy about that deal. But this is Morten Dyrmose. He's quick, he can cross, he's not too bad defensively, he's technically good. He's not a dwarf. He's a good back. And then we have the right back. I've loaned in, 17 years old as well. Apparently I love 17-year-old boys. And he's not as good as the other one. He's quick, he's got technical abilities, and he's not a dwarf either. That's a characteristic of me as a coach. I don't like dwarves on the fullbacks. The wingers always get in on the late crosses, and there's not much you can do about it. So yes, those are the fullbacks. Then you can see all of these guys in for free. Now the three first of them were already here. So we can have a look at these guys. I mean, this guy, well, he has some mental ability, but it's not really that much to go for. Then we have this old French guy. I have no idea how he's ended playing for free in Denmark. On the lower levels, of course. He can head. He's strong, but that's really it. So he's, well, he is an unpaid backup, and that's what he's gonna stay. And then this guy is actually alright. I've used him some in the pre-season. He is, well, only 19 years old, which we like, and he has, well, he has that pit bull mentality to be on the midfield. I think he can grow into a quite decent ball-winning midfielder. He's still very rough, but I think there's potential, and in the lower leagues I always like pace. If you can't dribble, just run. Just run. That's my advice to everyone playing in the lower leagues. Okay, so all of these guys are my transfer dealings. So if we will just take them from the beginning, and of course if you don't like transfer dealings, I suggest you wait to the next episode where we will get on with our first match of the season. But first, well, this is our first signing, Jeppe Carstensen. Now, a funny story about this. You know what you always do when you get a new player in, you ask a captain or one of the more experienced players in the squad to welcome them and introduce them to the rest of the squad. Now, this guy, I'm not quite sure whether he's an asshole. Well, according to my vice captain, Saban Östogan, I asked him to greet Jeppe and introduce him to the rest of the squad, and for the first time ever in Football Manager, he actually replied that he wasn't up for it. He simply didn't bother, couldn't care less. So, well, obviously I convinced him that he was an influential player at the squad, and I would like it if he would greet Jeppe into the rest of the squad, and somehow I persuaded him into doing it. Yeah, what a guy, what a bloke. But this, well, we can have a look at that Saban guy, our vice captain. He's actually one of the more decent guys in the squad before I came. He's an old FC Copenhagen reject, and he went to Avarta, played in another second division, and he's actually been in the second division ever since leaving FCK. But Saban Östogan, he is quite a route. Well, he's, I'd say, a defensive playmaker, or deep line playmaker as the role is called. His physical, not great. Well, he can run, not fast, but he can run. He can pass, and he has some, well, he has leadership and determination, which is the best he can offer. And that's, well, he's an alright player. I think he will be a squad rotation player, but he is our vice captain, so I should probably prioritize using him so he doesn't, well, pussy out on me and tell the rest of the squad to hate me. Alright, so the next guy we got in, well, we didn't even talk about Carstensen. I'm quite stoked about his potential. I mean, he's 24, so he's not that rough. He's already, well, he's not a youngster anymore, but he has some decent quality. He can dribble, he can finish, he has technique, he can pass, he has long shots, and something I like, he actually works for the team and he has aggression. You know, he likes to do stuff, and of course decent decisions. We also like anything that doesn't lead him to passing it down in his own goal. That's a plus. But yeah, he's also gonna be a rotation player on the midfield. So we have this guy in, also on a free. He's a very experienced player, 31, one of the few 30 plus guys I've brought in. He's also spent a lot of time in the second divisions of Danish football. But as you can see, well, he's it's actually quite amazing that he's training and getting better. I don't know if this will keep up during the season, but it's great promise for his doings for this club. Now, he is just a gem, I think. I'm quite curious whether or not his physical abilities will see him plummet down ability-wise, but if he can stay at this level, I think it's a great catch for this club. He can tackle, he works, he passes, he has vision, he's a leader, and perhaps most importantly, he's our best free kick taker. And well, being in the lower leagues, which means players don't really have that much technical ability, I think it's a good thing to have a decent free kick taker who can, well, just punt the ball into the box and hopefully hit one of our giant defenders. So I think this will be a first team regular. He still has stamina, he doesn't have too much natural fitness, so he might get worse. But I think he will I think he'll survive the season. And as you see, getting the number 7, and that's a call for armor as well. So yeah. Our next guy, Simon Ries. As you know, as the famous Danish bicycle rider Bjarne Ries. Whether it's his son, I don't know, could be. But I guess quite a lot of guys are named Ries in Denmark. As you can see, he's 28 years old, also on a free. He's alright, I guess. He can tackle, he can pass, he works, he's somewhat of a leader, and he isn't dead yet. I know he isn't 30 plus yet, but he is slow. He is very slow. He will not play a fullback in my system, at least, but he's alright. Rotation player, maybe a backup. He's given the number 8, so I guess I thought I would count on him. I'm not quite sure about now, but I think he will get some chances. Now another experienced player I've brought in also for free, Christian Bay Kastrup. He's an old OB guy. You know, for those of you watching not familiar with Danish football, OB has, I think they've always been in the Premier Division of Danish football, so I don't know if that says too much about him. That was his younger years, 2006, yeah, so that's, yeah, he was a teenager back then, but he has decent mental ability, in my opinion. Of course, technically he's quite rubbish. He can tackle and he's not too bad at anything. I mean, as it states down here, he can play box-to-box midfield. He can finish, he can take long shots, but most of all, it's his mental abilities I was interested in. Of course, this one stands out, I guess. 4 decisions. Not too promising, but of course, we have a large squad, and if he doesn't perform, he can get out. I'll just kick him out on the curve, no problem, no questions asked. Our next guy, and I think our last 30 plus man, well, we'll see, but I think this is the last one. Normally I don't like hiring old guys, I like improving on them, but I guess our training facilities aren't really made for improving players, so might as well go with a bunch of experienced guys as well. Now, as you can see, he is quick, and I like that, and he is quite tall as well, and he can jump. So I think we will play him as a backup on the right wing, as it states there. It's the only position he's totally familiar with. He can play up front and on the opposite wing, but I mean, he doesn't really dribble. His first touch is as bad as possible. At a point in the preseason, I thought about training him to play wing back, you know, just because of his pace, but then the alarm clocks started ringing. 1 tackling, 1 marking, 1 positioning. He's probably the worst defender on the earth. So yeah, he will be a backup winger, and as I said before, pace is important in lower league football, so I think he can be a quite alright substitute. Super sub would probably be asking too much, but that is my hope for this guy, Patrick Pedersen. Now, another Pedersen. He is a youngster, 21 years old. I got him from Silkeborg, which is where I live right now, so I'm not quite sure if this is one I know. Probably not. And he's not. I'm not gonna count on him for any important matches. Now the second division league system is an odd one. They have this rule where the bench must have 3 youth players, I think under 21s. I've tried filling with the rules, you know, if I put them in the starting lineup, or if that counts as a 21 player, but no. There has to be 3 under 21s on the bench, which is nonsense in my opinion, but I mean, this will probably lead to me just playing the experienced guys and then having a full bench of youngsters, but we will see how it fits with my squad. I'm not quite sure, but hopefully hopefully we can set a decent squad and the rules won't get in the way. I guess we'll have to see, but as you can see with this Morten Pedersen guy, he can pass, he has some kind of first touch, and he has some pace, but that's almost it. He can become a decent advanced playmaker, but not really counting on it. The next guy, well, we've already seen this guy, Morten Dyrmose, and the other guy was the other fullback. So this guy is one of the better signings I've made. He's also from Silkeborg, actually. I didn't even realize that, but I guess that's a plus. I don't know. We'll have to see. But he's since then I don't know, he's only played youth football there. He's played second division ever since, but he's actually quite alright. He's the only sweeper keeper I've been able to find on this level, and he's actually quite alright. 14 passing. I mean, you don't get that. It's I don't know. The Prim would probably have anyone at a lower level than him. But other than that, well, he's not handling anything. But as long as he will get in the way, and he will with some reflex ability and one-on-ones, he's not that tall, so I've preferred to play with a high defensive line just to keep the big players out of the field. I mean, if any target man will get into the penalty area, he will crush our goalkeeper, so this is what we'll do. But he's alright. He's better than the goalkeeper we had before, other than he's not as tall as that guy, but height isn't everything, if you didn't know that. So our next guy is, well, during the preseason I was fiddling with whether we should play 5 at the back or 4 at the back. Something I always do, but losing like 4 games in a row, I thought I might as well play a system that I know can make a decent result. So I don't know if any of you would say that this is a mainstream formation, but I've gone with 4-3-3. This is what I usually use. It tends to work, and well, yes. So this guy is a backup. I've probably brought in too many defenders because I had this couple of weeks where I thought we might play with 3 at the back, but he is alright, and he's not old, and he's actually quick, so he can play in a high line, which is important. And as you can see, he's actually preferring the role as a cover back. So an alright rotation player. Now this guy is perhaps the best one I've found. Mesfelk. He's an old FC Nordsjælland player. He didn't have any appearances in the Superliga, the Prem of Danish football, but he is a technical beast at this level. Now I know he doesn't really dribble, but anything above 10 at this level is alright. But his first touch, goal, finishing goal, passing, technique, vision, he has flair, so well, he's creative. He might do something that people won't expect, and he's fairly pacey, mostly on the short run. But this is a decent playmaker. I would probably put him on the wing. He can also play in the middle down here, but tackling and marking and positioning one. This is obviously a trend in my signings, but as long as I don't put them in the back line, I guess we will manage. But he's quite alright, a nice technical player for this level. This is another youngster. Now, since the market I'm searching in for players is mostly amateurs and people who don't crave money for their work, which is horrible really, I've signed a lot of youngsters for free. If they don't fit in, I will just put them in the under 19s or the reserve squad. If other teams will purge them no problem. As you probably know, people without a paying contract can be lured away from other clubs. And of course this wouldn't be horrible. As you see, he's an alright youngster. He can tackle and pass somewhat. Mostly it's his physical and mental abilities I've gone for. But he's not someone I will count on. As you can see, his potential ability is quite alright, but we will have to see. I'm not even sure I'm in Avarta to watch his further development, so we will have to see. I'm just trying to build a squad that's compatible not to be relegated from the second division. Our next guy, another experienced player. Apparently I lied before. Another 30 plus player, but he's free. But this one I'm actually paying money to play. It's still a part-time job for him, but he has very good mental ability. This was another player I decided to sweep up down when I thought we were playing 3 at the back. Now we might do that from time to time, but I don't think it's a good idea, really. But I've tried him out in some friendly matches on the right wing back. He's actually alright. As you can see, he can cross. He's not too quick, which is an issue, but as long as the opposite wingers aren't too quick, I think we will manage. But he's quite alright, decent mental abilities. He's a leader. He could become a captain if he's someone we wish to keep in the club, but another squad player, I guess. This guy, he's an odd one. I've mostly picked him out because of his flair and work rate and aggression. So he's creative, and I'd say he wants to do creative stuff, but his technicals aren't really there for him in order to do the technical stuff that he wants. I guess we'll have to see. He's also a somewhat old player who didn't ask for any money. He is okay, pacey, but not really. I'm guessing backup as well, but we didn't really have any wingers, so I thought I do have to have backup. So and he's an odd one because I think I've only signed Danish players. He's also Danish, but also Ethiopian, which is quite exotic. And he speaks Amharic. Aramaic? I'm not quite sure what language that is. But he might, well, if we find some young prospect who's Ethiopian, well, fingers crossed, not really. We might be able to use this guy to persuade him into signing for us. He's a Barcelona supporter. I don't know if that means anything, but he has flair and he has an exotic name. Two things I like, so he's on the team. Now, another defender and another 30 plus. So this is apparently a tendency from me. No, but he's alright. His acceleration is shit, but his pace is alright. He's huge, he can jump, and his mentals are great. So I think he can do a job. If not first team, then probably second fiddle in the central defense. I found this guy. He's not an oldie, which you should give me props for at this point. No, but first off, he's a striker, but he can also play on right wing. I think also left wing. He's pacey, he can finish, he has some technique, and he can head, and he's enormous. So I think that if we play him on the flank, he can overrun some of the fullbacks. Either sprint from them or just jump above him and head it in the goal. I think he's a decent signing. Probably first team or second fiddle. So this guy I mentioned earlier, it's a funny analysis map, really. Very rough player. He is a dwarf, sadly. But I thought, well, I actually brought him in when I thought we were playing wing backs, which he is perfect as. But other than being small and, well, 2 strength is not preferable, but he's alright. I'm planning on playing possession football. I'm not quite sure it's a realistic suggestion on this level, but it's what I'm going for, and as a possessive wing back, he is just a beast, I think. He's alright defensively, but with the ball he's quite nice. He can pass, he has technique, long shots, dribbling, and okay crossing. He's the best crossing fullback we have. And then of course he's pacey, which I like, and he has the vision to actually hit someone in the box. So this is one of the few guys I'm actually paying, but I thought, well, I might not stumble upon better players, or at least better fullbacks at this level, and he's only 19, so he counts as a under 21 in the well, on the bench at least. We'll see. I have to bench this guy in order to put in a full squad for the match, which actually applies to the rules, but we'll have to see. I like this guy to start, but maybe it's not possible, but it's the hope. And then this guy I just recently found. As you saw before, I loaned in the right fullback. Was it Oliver Skytte? Jonas Skytte. Yes, Jonas Skytte. And I had, well, when I came into the club, I thought we had an alright right fullback. But then I fiddled around in the transfer market, and I realized he's actually quite shit. Well, he's not the worst. I guess he can be some kind of backup, maybe third choice, which is not really needed, I think. But well, I've tried to sell him for free. I don't really like paying him money when we're not using him. Maybe we should offer him out on loan, I'm not quite sure, but well, instead of that guy as a backup, I decided to go with this guy, who as well as many of the other boys didn't crave any money. So yeah, he's quite alright. He's quicker than the other one. Well, perhaps he's not that much better than the guy I just showed you, but maybe this guy is just quicker, and I like pace down the wings. We'll have to see. Yes, and so if we look at our starting lineup, this is it. Now I know things will change quite a lot during the season. If people don't perform, we have lots of backups to try instead. Lots of people playing for free, so I might change things up a lot. But this is quite a decent starting lineup, if you ask me. So we will just have a look at the guys I actually didn't sign, which still are in the squad. So this guy is the club captain, Jakob Albrechtsen. He's also an old FC Copenhagen reject, but then, as the tendency has shown, they drop down to the second division and never get back to a proper level. But this is the steam we will have to break, I guess. He's quite a beast really at this level. Tackling, marking, heading. He can do long throws, not something I've planned for. Well, sometimes you do make these weird tactics for long throws, and then the guy steps up with the ball in his hands, and then his ability is just not enough to get it, and then, well, he will throw it right down at the feet of an opposition player, and they will shoot it right down the opposite side of the field and score a counter attack, and that is not anything I wish for this team to happen. So he will probably stay down in the middle. He's not too slow. I mean, he's not even 30 yet, which is insane if you look at the other signings I've made, but he's quite alright. Teamwork, work rate, he's a leader. He's not too bright mentally, but he's alright. I think he will score a ton of goals on corner kicks, at least that's my hope. And also we have, well, I showed you this guy, Saban Öztürk'ün, our vice captain, who didn't like to talk to other people, which is an issue. Well, ever since that episode, it hasn't happened again, and as I also said, I have never seen that happen in Football Manager. People are, well, most often they're just happy that I actually reach out for them and treat them as an influential player, but this guy, no, he just leave me alone and let me play football, which is quite what I was like as a footballer, so I guess I appreciate that quality in a player, but well, he could lose his position in the starting lineup. We have quite a few players to go in on the central midfield. So we are either playing with a deep line playmaker or a ball-winning midfielder, depending on the opposition. I'm not quite sure we can keep up a positive mentality and a high defensive line. We'll have to see, but this is my hopes for this club in order to climb the stairs and reach the skies. Yes, so in the next episode we will have a look at our first match in the of the season. As you can see, we have quite a lot of matches in a small room. The 4th, the 8th, the 11th. So I guess we will take all of these in one session, and then we will see if all of my hard work will actually pay off. Well, as you can see, these are our 3-5-2 pace. Loss. Well, I'm still quite stoked about this game against FC Copenhagen. We got a lot of revenue from it, which probably allowed us to build our squad. But then you can see FC Roskilde is in the second best division in Denmark, one league above us, and we beat them comfortably. Also Lübeck, clearly a better squad than us. Then Glasgow, I don't know, some amateur side, not really that important. AB in the same league as us, 3-0, so that's quite promising. And as a whole, I'm quite positive about our season. I'm not quite sure we can be promoted, but as long as we will survive in this league, I would be very stoked. And most importantly, the club has granted me a coaching course for my further development. So, well, that's really the reason to be here at this club. It might turn out to be a brilliant save, and I will fall in love with this club, and we will build a larger stadium and move into the Premiership of Danish football. But that if that happens, I will leave it to another save, and I will stick this one to, furthering my career and, I don't know, getting some weird jobs in the world of football. But we're starting out in Denmark, the second division, and everything looks great.